And also, when we get to the end of this meeting, I am going to give you guys full opportunity to ask any questions you may have, so on and so forth. I'll apologize now for the kids playing in the background. Deal with it, because they're cuter than all of you. Well, except for Sully. He's got a nice mouth. You're welcome, Lee. Thank you. All right, so the first thing I want to go over tonight, and like I said, you guys will have ample opportunity at the end to ask any questions you have, and I'm going to be 100% completely open with you guys tonight. There's nothing off the fucking table. You want to ask something, you ask me, and I'm going to tell you fucking immediately. You know, this is just like a company enlisted meeting. So I want to talk to you guys for a minute concerning Sergeant Reynolds' reserve transfer. I'm assuming all of you guys are aware of that at this point.
Affirm talk.
Sergeant.
All right. I'm assuming, you know, some of, if not most of you guys are kind of saddened by that. We've all been around Reynolds for a long time. I've known Reynolds for almost the entire 4 years that I've been in the unit here. He was originally in 1-3 back in the day with my very good friend Person, who I ran first platoon with and was a fellow squad leader with for a long time. So I've known Reynolds for a very long time. He is one of my more favorite people in the unit in terms of just personality and his fucking, you know, gung-ho-ness. There's very few people that can match how much that guy gives a shit about the unit in terms of that. That being said, what you guys are probably not aware of is the fact that Sergeant Reynolds was asked to step down. He didn't put that in his transfer request. And the reason he didn't put that in his transfer request is to basically keep you guys shielded, as a good platoon sergeant should. It's not really necessarily your guys' place to know that he was stepped down, or that he was asked to step down. But I'm telling you guys that because, like I said, I'm going to be completely fucking open with you on this. Sergeant Reynolds was asked to step down due to his limited availability, basically. As you guys know, he's not really able to be around all that much due to work and family and so on. And he was asked to step down by Lieutenant Garcia. Now, you squad leaders that are in here, you know that about 3 weeks or so ago, I came to all of you to speak to you about Sergeant Reynolds. Reason for that being is because I was going to fire Sergeant Reynolds 3 weeks ago for essentially the same reasons. Sergeant Reynolds had been spoken to multiple times about his limited availability, his lack of filling in for the squads, being there for you guys, so on and so forth. Like I said, he was spoken to multiple times about it, and it never improved. So I was going to fire him 3 weeks ago. And the squad leaders that are in this room squad leaders that are in this platoon saved him. All 4 of them had nothing but good to say about Sergeant Reynolds. And I was not about to fire a man whose 4 squad leaders believed in him. I won't do it. I don't care how much I dislike his characteristics in terms of, you know, not being here enough for you guys, in my opinion. I'm not going to do it. I couldn't. That being said, Lieutenant Garcia felt that his performance was poor enough that it still warranted asking him to move reserves. And that's not a decision that I am going to fight. Granted, I shared the same opinion, but I'm always going to side with you guys over anyone. That includes the fucking captain. I will fucking disagree tooth and nail in private when it comes to your guys' welfare. I don't care if he's the CO. I'm still going to fight for you guys much more than I'll ever fight for him. That being said, once he makes a decision, it's my job to enforce it. So he's the final word. When he says something goes, then I make it fucking happen. Somebody questions him with me in the fucking area, I'm going to rip their goddamn head off because that's my job, and that man built this fucking unit, and this thing would not exist without him. So even when it's a decision I may not necessarily agree with due to other parts of the decision, I'm still going to back it. That's kind of the situation with Reynolds. While I did also want to see him go, at the same time, I didn't want to see him go because the 4 squad leaders trusted him. That being said, those of you in this platoon, how many of you in here right now have had a platoon sergeant that was not Sergeant Reynolds in 1st Platoon. Essentially, how many of you, if any, had myself or at the time Sergeant Heckman as a platoon sergeant? Besides Munson, because I know that one.
Who was it before Reynolds?
Myself, and then it was Sergeant Heckman before me.
Yeah, negative.
Okay, so Sully, who did you have for a platoon sergeant?
Sergeant Storm and Havoc, or
Oh,
excuse
okay,
me, Sergeant. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, back in the old days.
Yeah.
I mean specifically Havoc 1. For those of you guys that weren't around back in the day when there was 5 platoons in the unit, Havoc 1 was always unique. And I'm sure you guys have all heard the fucking stories before and so on and so forth about how bad things were and shit like that. But that's not why Havoc 1 was unique. We were unique in the sense that we got our asses beat every night because the Ares operators were assholes. And we on average would take on roughly 18 pieces of armor per operation. That was our average. Over an 8-month period was 18 pieces of armor. Myself and Hammer were the ones that figured all that out. One night we took on 26 pieces of armor. That was the infamous bridge mission that you guys hear about. But that's not why. Yeah. And by the way, don't ever try and go up against 26 pieces of armor. It's not fun. But the reason that Havoc 1 was unique was because of something that actually Heckman instilled in all of us when all of us were kind of new to the unit. And that was a level of camaraderie and brotherhood that the rest of the unit didn't share at anywhere near our level, to the point that other platoons, well, basically the 2 other platoons in the other company, told the battalion that we had a cult-like mentality because we were so tight-knit. And we had a chip on our shoulders because we were the best. And we knew we were the best because we had the fucking numbers to back it up. Not just in our performance in game, but the fact that every single billet at one point in time in 1st Platoon was billet capped. From the lowest rifleman all the way up to Platoon HQ was billet capped. Every single person had been there long enough to cap out their billet. And some people would worry about stagnation and, guys getting tired of it and wanting to move up and being pissed off because nobody leaves and, you don't get a chance to move up. That wasn't the case within Havoc 1 back then. I can't really speak for the other team leaders, but when I was a team leader in Havoc 1, myself and Hammer were offered 5 different squads. Every time they offered it to one of us, they offered it to both of us. 5 separate times we were offered squads, and we always refused because we wouldn't leave Havoc 1. And then when Aston moved on from Platoon HQ, Avery stepped up to 1-6, and that left 1-4 open. And he came to me and asked me to take 1-4. And while I wasn't necessarily thrilled to leave 1-2, because those were my boys, I took the squad. And that's the first squad that I ever took. That's the only squad I ever took, for that matter. And the only reason I took it was because it was still in 1st Platoon. For us, the platoon came first. It wasn't about the team or the squad. It was about the platoon. It was not rare to see multiple guys from every squad hanging out all on the same channel, just bullshitting with each other. And I know Munson remembers those days. Even when I was running 1-4, it was still the same way. Heckman was still the platoon sergeant. We all still had the same mentality. And most of the, I guess, old guard, if you will argue that 1st Platoon at that time, especially when it was Avery, Heckman, Clark, Hammer, Person, and myself as kind of the backbone of 1st Platoon, that's when it was at its best. But the whole long fucking story that I'm getting at here is the reason that platoon was so good and we were so effective. And I can't stress to you guys how effective it was. And that's not to fucking toot our horn. I know what a platoon of infantry is fucking capable of when they're incredibly well trained and communicate with each other. It is almost fucking impossible to stop that platoon. That is the reason that we got our shit kicked in so much, aside from the Zeus's just being assholes and dropping mortars directly on our head. But the reason they had to do that because their mandate was to make us take 2 hours to do an operation. And they couldn't do that without sending ridiculous amounts of armor at us and dropping artillery directly on top of our heads, because there was no other way for them to make us stop. They couldn't do it. We moved too quickly through everything. So when we would go up against a battalion's worth of infantry and 18 pieces of armor in a single night, as where one of the other platoons would go up against 6 pieces of armor and 200 guys, that's when we became kind of our own self-fulfilling prophecy. Because we got our asses kicked so much, we trained harder and worked harder to be even better so that we can complete the mission quicker, easier, with less casualties. And as we got better, that made them hit us harder. So it was kind of a gigantic circle jerk. And the, I guess, kind of cornerstone of that entire thing was Heckman, which sounds silly to you guys probably, because you know him, most of you may know him at this point as a specialist who likes to joke around. I've been doing this now for a little over 4 years. You guys have mostly only ever known me as the first sergeant. Obviously, none of you guys, aside from Munson, ever served under me as platoon sergeant. Munson also, as I said, served under me as 1-4. In my 4 years of doing this, and this is including the guy that founded the fucking unit, all of the guys that came over at the start of this unit, I've never met someone more passionate about the guys in this unit than Heckman is. I don't mean the unit, I mean the guys in it. Those of you asshats that are sitting in this channel right now, or guys that are listening to recordings, he gives a fuck more about you guys than he'll ever care about any of us, his closest friends. And he's never even met half of you. And that's the mentality that we had throughout the entire platoon. We gave a shit about each other. And that definitely feels like it's been lost a little bit. And I don't mean in the sense that you guys don't hang out and you're not friends and so on. One example I'll give you is there was a night, it was actually the first night that I took over 1-4. We were doing an FTX and we went to push into a town. The fucking Bradley was blown up within the first 3 minutes of the engagement because they rolled over some mines. It was a gigantic shit show. We got our asses beat. And at one point in time, Heckman, of all people, disappeared. He was off comms. Nobody had any comms with him, but we could track him on Blue Force and seen that he was still inside the town. He got hit at some point trying to get out of the town. And everybody was heavily engaged. Couldn't really move, with the exception of me, because I was the support guy. So I had to be very fluid and get my guys all over the place. And I made the call on Platoon Net to tell everybody in the platoon that I'm going after 1-7. I was immediately told no by Avery, who used to be my platoon leader. That guy down there that flies the fucking A-10s now, he used to be my platoon leader. In fact, he was my goddamn OSUT instructor. And Avery told me, no, you're not taking your squad in. We cannot lose a squad for Heckman. Despite the fact that I could have lost my squad for doing this, I told my platoon leader, I don't care, I'm going to get 1-7. And I left half of my squad on Overwatch, and I took Lee's, Yogi, and I believe actually Munson, you might have been the missile element that I took with me. But I took the other half of the squad, and we went in to get them. And we pulled them out successfully. We were able to get them, save them, it was a big hoorah, fucking heroic moment. But what I'm stressing here is the fact that I was willing to lose my squad, something that I absolutely loved. I was willing to lose that position because my platoon sergeant was down out there by himself, and I wasn't leaving without him. And we were extracting via helos, and I was not leaving without that platoon sergeant. I don't care if that would have been Heckman or if that would have been Specialist Lee. Not this Lee, our other old man Lee, who I'm pretty sure you guys are twins or something. But I don't care who it would have been in the platoon. If I would have heard on the radio at that point in time that any fucking individual from my platoon was out there alone, I was going to get them. Now we look at the platoons, and guys can have an MCI. And those of us that are old school guys are on the radio going, hey, are we going over there to respond? Are we helping them? What? And the response is, I don't know, because leadership hasn't even asked if they're going over there. For us, it wasn't a matter of asking. It was a matter of telling. Us squad leaders ran that platoon. We were guided by Platoon HQ, but us squad leaders ran that fucking platoon. They didn't tell us who was where in the order of march, who set up covering what angles. We decided that as squad leaders because we knew each other. We respected each other more than anything else. We trusted each other. If a person called me on the radio and said that 1-3's got my left flank, that's all that needs to be said. I will not have a single gun looking off to the left because I trust him to take care of my left flank. That has been lost. And a large reason as to why that's been lost in my eyes, as well as the rest of Company HQ, is the lack of guidance from above. And I know that probably sounds weird to you guys that are hearing this because you feel as though you've had great guidance. And like I said, Reynolds, his capability for, the hoo-ah shit is very, very fucking high. But his guidance on a level of what I expect from a platoon sergeant falls very, very short. And you guys don't know that because you've never had the level of guidance that I consider acceptable. So it's a little weird, I'm sure, for you guys to be like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, he's great for us, but you don't. And this is going to come off very dickish, and it's not intended that way. But you don't know what you don't know. You don't know how bad it is right now because you have no idea how good it can be. I've seen what this platoon is capable of, and I know that it's capable of so goddamn much more. Because again, I've seen what 40 fucking dedicated individuals with good guidance can accomplish. And I know that you guys can fucking do that. But goddamn, you are not capable of doing it right now. And like I said, I'm not saying that to be a dick. It's because you don't know how to do it the right way. And an example of that is, say, platoon net, for example. All right, a couple of you guys, we busted your balls the other night about saying break, break, break when nobody's even talking. We don't give a shit. That's just us fucking with you for the sake of fucking with you. But formality on platoon net, squad net, team net especially, we don't give a fuck, guys. The reason that shit is taught so strictly in OSUT is for that day that you end up, say, moving into a platoon HQ spot, and then you get on the radio with me on company net, then you gotta have proper fucking radio procedure because the shit we're talking about on there is vital. I mean, that's life dependent type shit that we're talking about on that net. So you have to be Johnny on the goddamn spot with everything. But on platoon net, I'm not okay with you guys getting your fucking head ripped off because you didn't say over at the end of your transmission. I'm not okay with you guys getting fucking yelled at because you didn't say break when it's really not even fucking needed. I'm not okay with you guys feeling so fucking tensed up that you can't even crack a goddamn joke on the radio. One of the best anecdotes I'll ever have of this unit was the night that we were defending the town of Electro during Red Hammer. One of the worst operations that 1st Platoon has ever had in the entire history of the unit. We're in the middle of a hellacious gunfight, and Clark, who was running 1-1 at the time, Clarky comes across platoon net and says 1-1 has contacted those contacts. The very next response on the platoon net wasn't Roger or why didn't you say over or fucking yelling and screaming at him for anything. No, it was one of the other squad leaders hitting the radio saying, yeah, did you use a phone? That wouldn't happen today. Does anybody in this channel think something like that would go down or go over well on platoon net to crack a joke like that?
Probably not.
No,
Negative.
it wouldn't.
We'd get our ass chewed.
Exactly. And that's fucking sad that you guys are wound up so much that you feel like you can't even crack a goddamn joke. When we, at a company level, are cracking jokes and shit out there while we're filling in, and you guys don't even feel comfortable doing it, that fucking sucks, man. The other night when, well, it was a couple weeks ago now, but myself and Heckman filled in with AJ in 1-1. And we were busting his balls the entire fucking night. And he was laughing. And hopefully actually having fucking fun. But that's how it should be. You have to remember at the end of the day, we're here to have fun. Granted, we're going to get a fucking job done. But you can get a job done while you're having fun. You guys can let your hair down a little bit. But don't get me wrong. There are fundamental problems throughout the platoons of this unit right now. Okay, things like Sunday night, when you guys are sitting up there west of that fucking refinery and you got mortars walking in on you and they finally are landing basically on top of your dick and you still haven't moved yet because you're waiting for an order from your platoon HQ to tell you to move, that's fundamentally incorrect. You guys should feel empowered enough to make that decision to just move. Back in the day, we wouldn't have gotten an order to fucking move out of fire like that because we would have already been moving. They would have tried to hit us on the radio and tell us to start moving while we're busy telling them to fuck off. We're getting out of mortar fire. Leave us the hell alone. Obviously not in those words, but stuff like that where it's very obvious to those of us at Company HQ that you guys have no freedom. You're so tightly packed into this box and so focused at this point on such trivial remedial shit like doing a radio check properly on fucking SquadNet, but you can't pull off a proper ambush position. That's not right. That's not what we're here for. That's not what the unit stands for. And where that mentality came from, we can't understand. Because when we at company yell at platoon HQ to unfuck something or get guys moving, you guys should not be hearing the exact same words uttered back to you. That's fucking wrong. I do not want to yell at platoon leadership to get their guys fucking moving now and hear the exact same words come out of their mouth to you guys. That's not right. That's not what they're there for. They're there to shield you from our bullshit. When we yell at them, they're supposed to say, Roger, that's my fault. I know damn well everybody that's in this channel has at one point in time heard one of us in Company HQ question a decision, and the task force commander, being one of the other two in Company HQ, step up and say, that was my choice. I fucked it up. Right? Has everybody at some point in time heard one of us do that? I would hope so. Well, actually, I would kind of hope not, because I would hope we don't fuck up enough for everybody to hear it, but we immediately step up and own our fucking mistakes. When I ask your platoon HQ why the fuck you guys are moving to a certain position, and they say, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I didn't tell them to move over there. That pisses me off. I mean, absolutely pisses me off, because that's passing the buck off to you guys. And I don't know if it's because they think that I'm going to blame you guys, but at the end of the day, I'm not. I'm going to blame them, because ultimately it's their fault. And to be 100% completely honest with all of you, I don't give a fuck about them. I don't. When they moved up to a higher leadership position, my feelings for them went out the fucking window. Because now their responsibility is you guys. And ultimately, my responsibility is you guys. So the fucking, roughly 40 guys in your platoon, you're the only ones I give a shit about. I could care less about that officer and that senior NCO. I don't give a fuck if they're happy. I don't care if they're sad. Not my problem. I give a shit about you guys in the platoon. Because if you guys aren't here, we don't have a fucking unit. Now, granted, I'm supposed to say the exact same thing about all 3 platoons. But at the end of the day, Havoc 1 is my fucking platoon. That's where I was my entire time in the goddamn unit. I spent almost 3 years in 1st Platoon and would not have left ever had I had the choice, really, to never leave. So when I hear Platoon HQ throw their fucking platoon under the bus, I get pretty worked up. But I'm not going to yell at the platoon leader. That's not my role. I'm going to go back to the fucking XO and to the CO and say, hey, this is fucked up. I'm not okay with my guys getting fucking yelled at because I yelled at their leadership. Because at the end of the day, it may be their platoon, but you're my fucking guys. And I'm not going to let that shit go down. So, to get back to what we're talking about, and again, I apologize for being long-winded, guys, but I want to make sure that you guys understand that at the end of the day, no matter fucking what, I'm going to fight for you idiots tooth and nail, no matter what I have to do. If I had to fucking resign from this unit today to make sure that all of you guys were taken care of, I would do it. No questions asked. So, to get back to Platoon, Ron Reynolds has stepped down from his position as 1-7. Obviously, everybody's curious as to who's going to be moving up and so on. Lieutenant Garcia's recommendation was Sergeant Sullivan. I'll tell you guys that flat out, whether he likes it or not. Tough shit, Sully. His recommendation was Sergeant Sullivan. I agree with him. Sergeant Sullivan is a great squad leader. Sergeant Reed is a great squad leader. Sergeant Lanko is a great squad leader. Sergeant Shaw, I don't really know much at this point. Apologies. But
He's okay.
he's okay. He's okay. There we go. Jaeger will step up for him. Good job. That's what a fucking,
Okay,
that's what a
damn.
squad, no, that's what a squad mate should do. You fucking step up and at least say, yeah, he's all right. But do I believe any one of those 4 are ready for that position? No. And that may sound harsh, but the reason that I don't believe Sully, Reed, Lanko, and Shaw are not ready for that position is because you don't honestly know what that fucking position entails. And the reason you don't know what that position entails is because you've never had someone in that position to show how it's done right and not with the minimal amount of fucking effort. I mean, you've never had someone in that position that will go to bat to company and say, hey, what's going on with my guys right now is fucking wrong, and I'm not going to let it keep happening. You guys have never had that. And that sucks. That's our fault. More importantly, that's my fault that you guys have never had that. Because I didn't put my foot down sooner and say this needs to fucking end. And for that, I apologize. I should have done it 2 fucking years ago. But I didn't. We kept letting it slide because we kept getting told, no, it's going to be better. It's going to be better. No, he's doing a good job. So on. When at the end of the day, deep down, I knew he wasn't doing a good job because he wasn't up to my standards. And I failed you guys in that respect. That's not going to happen again, ever. Now, on to the next part, which is Lieutenant Garcia. What is unknown to you guys at this point, we just got done having a conversation with Lieutenant Garcia right before I hopped in here with you guys. That conversation consisted of us removing Lieutenant Garcia from his position. Now, I know that's probably going to come as a bit of a shock to you guys. That you just lost your fucking platoon HQ. They're gone. And I could understand even being a little bit fucking pissed off with us right now. Completely understand it. And you'll have a chance to voice that all you fucking want when I get done. Absolutely promise that everyone will have however much time to speak they need. But the reason that Sergeant Reynolds was asked to step down by Lieutenant Garcia was because of his, in not so many words, piss poor effort to do the job. And in our eyes at Company HQ, that job falls on both of those sets of shoulders. And Lieutenant Garcia was doing the exact same thing that Sergeant Reynolds was doing, and fired the man for doing exactly what he was doing himself. Yet again, passing the fucking blame off. And I'm not okay with that. So it was immediately my recommendation that Lieutenant Garcia also be removed from his position for doing the exact same thing. And if you guys want to be pissed at me for that and hate me, that's fine. I'm willing to fucking take that because it was my recommendation. Yes, the CO has to make approval, but it was my fucking recommendation that that be done. So if you want to be pissed off at anybody, you be pissed off at me. But know that that recommendation was made solely with your guys' welfare in mind, because you're not getting what you deserve in this fucking platoon. And I can't let it go anymore. I cannot. So that being said, there's now 2 positions open at Platoon HQ. And you guys are probably wondering what the fuck we're going to do if there's 2 positions open at Platoon HQ. And I just said none of the 4 squad leaders are ready to fucking move into one of those positions, let alone 2. What we are going to do is something that has never been done in this unit before. Firstly, Specialist Heckman is going to be moving into the 1-7 position. He'll be moving back up to Sergeant First Class Heckman. And while I can absolutely understand that some of you guys are going to see that as favoritism or whatever, completely understandable to see it that way, I cannot stress to you guys enough that friendship has nothing to do with it. I don't give a fuck about friendships when making decisions like this, because again, this was my recommendation. And I hope and fucking hope that you guys understand at this point that all I give a shit about is you guys, and I'm not going to make a recommendation that is going to make you worse than what you currently are. So I made the recommendation that Heckman moves into the 1-7 position to show you guys what a true fucking platoon sergeant looks like. Someone that truly cares about you guys and will be there every single time you need him. The next thing that is going to happen is Captain Drumheller is going to be filling in temporarily as your guys' platoon leader. And I stress temporarily. Obviously, the company commander can't fucking step down and run a platoon full time, or, for the foreseeable future. What is going to happen, and there will be a command announcement made if it's not already, Captain is going to step down for a period of roughly 3 months to run as a platoon leader for 1st Platoon, to show you guys exactly what he expects from a platoon of our guys. After that 3 months, one of the squad leaders, or whoever is decided upon, is going to be moved into the 1-6 position. So at that point, after roughly 3 months, they've had time to learn from 2 of the most experienced guys this unit has ever fucking seen. And obviously I can't speak for fucking any of you, but you should be happy to have an opportunity to learn from 2 of them at the same time so fucking directly. Because I know you guys probably think the captain is just a big asshole that all he does is yell and scream. And don't get me wrong, he yells and screams, but I make him look like a little fucking kid when it comes to yelling and screaming. I got that trump card. But you guys are going to have closer access to him than what any of you have ever had before. And you have an opportunity to learn directly from the fucking horse's mouth how things should be done. And you have someone like Heckman who is going to step up and guide you guys through every single thing that he expects to see done. And he's going to show you exactly how to do it and why we do it that way. And after that 3-month period, Captain is going to move back up to company. As I said, one of you guys are going to move into the platoon leader spot. You'll still have Heckman there to back you up and, help you kind of transition into that role. And he's going to be there ahead of time, obviously, to also, back you up and teach you guys things while this is going on. But he'll still be there to back you up. And then if you decide, all right, I want to work with one of my other squad leaders, I think they're ready to move up to platoon sergeant, then we'll cross that bridge. We'll move another person up into the platoon sergeant role. If you want to stick with Heckman, great. Whatever. That's going to be whoever's that decision is in terms of the platoon leader. That's your choice at that point because it's your fucking platoon. But we want to make sure you guys whoever it is that's moved up into that 1/6 role is properly fucking prepared for it and really knows what we expect out of that platoon. And like I said, it's something that's never been done, and it's pretty fucking drastic. But at this point, we can't keep relying on just, okay, fix it, fix it, fix it, because it's not getting fixed. So we have to do something. And stepping in directly is the best option that we came up with. So I've talked plenty fucking long enough. As I said, I want to give you guys plenty of time to fucking ask questions or, so on and so forth. So just like normal, if you got a question or whatever, put it down in chat. Try and refrain from having like full on fucking conversations in the chat. But yeah, we'll go through and answer questions and stuff like that. So Private Hawkins.
Thank you, First Sergeant. I first of all, I think highly of Heckman, and I think he'll make a great platoon sergeant. The only question I have as far as him being platoon sergeant is longevity. Does he plan on staying active for a while this time around?
Yeah, as long as basically you guys need him. So it'll be minimum 3 months because that's how long Captain Drumheller will be in the 1/6 position. Once somebody moves into 1/6, if, like I said, that person still decides they want to work with Heckman, then he'll remain in that position. If not, then he'll step down, and whoever that platoon leader decides they want to work with, and we approve it at a company level, that's who will be taking the 1/7 position.
All right, thank you, First Sergeant. That's all I had.
Yep. Munson.
Thank you, First Sergeant. So, I guess as of like one of two or so people still in Havoc 1 that have been here almost from the beginning or close to it.
Yeah, I think you and Potvin are all that's left.
Right. I really do appreciate the transparency as far as letting us know and giving us a heads up and walking us through it. That's one thing I've been asking for a long time to see. Because as you just did, it helped answer a lot of questions and ease a lot of concerns before they even popped up. However, I still want to, I guess, hear your take on a few things. One of which
Mhm.
is, me personally. I don't know if I can speak with everybody, but I'm concerned that because I was also there when Heckman was around, so I'm very much aware of his abilities as a as platoon leadership, uh,
Mhm.
and he was great at it. However, I don't have the same nostalgic feeling as you did, and part of me is worried that that nostalgia is getting in the way of his
Right.
actual qualifications at this point.
Well, it's not so much qualifications what you're talking about, it's commitment that you're talking about. Am I right in that? It's the commitment more so that you're worried about. Is he going to burn out in a month and want to be out of here? No, believe me, nostalgia's not in the fucking way of that. I was pissed when we gave him the position before, and he immediately pretty much stepped down. I didn't talk to Heckman for almost 3 months after that because I was so pissed off at him. Because he is one of my good friends, and that felt like a gigantic fuck you, to be completely honest with all of you. What I wasn't aware of at the time, and I fucking bitched at him for not making me aware of this. The squad leaders within 1st Platoon, when Heckman took over as platoon sergeant, were all sent a message. Basically, Heckman being Heckman, explaining, hey, we are going to be the best fucking platoon. We will be the standard of this unit. And he was then pulled into Lewis's office and fucking chewed up one side and down the other because how dare he address his fucking platoon like without Lewis approving it, and how dare he make his guys think that they're not already the best platoon in the entire unit because they were. That's why Lewis was fired, because he was so disillusioned with himself and thought that you guys were the baddest fucking platoon the unit had ever seen and couldn't see his own mistakes and his own flaws. And then took what was the most experienced guy possible for that position and handcuffed his fucking hands and said, "You ain't doing shit to my platoon." So he said, "Fuck it, then I'm leaving. There's nothing I can do with him. He's the officer, he has all the power." But where he failed is that he didn't make us aware of that. Because if we would have been aware of that at a company level, we would have fired him. That's not the kind of fucking mentality we have here. That someone is so hard-headed that they're not willing to concede that they have a flaw, or that they have fucked something up, or that they're not the fucking best. That's not what we're here for. Everybody should be eager for an opportunity to learn and better whatever their element is. But that was Heckman's mistake, is that he didn't tell us what happened. And that pissed me off yet again, that he didn't tell us for whatever reason. And at a company level, if someone doesn't tell us that something like that is happening, we have no way of knowing. That shit went down in private. We can't glean from a crystal ball that he got fucking yelled at for trying to tell the platoon, like, hey, we're going to train and work harder than we ever have before. We have no way of knowing that message happened. So him leaving looked really bad. And it was really bad. Shit, it didn't look really bad. It was really fucking bad. But in this situation, he doesn't have that where Lewis is going to be tying his hands. He's going to have, obviously, the company fucking commander that is backing him up on whatever's being done. And I've spent days and days talking to Heckman about stuff like this. And I will not question his devotion to the unit. As I said earlier, he cares more about this unit than anybody I've ever met. And those of you squad leaders that are in here, when I sat down and spoke to you guys about firing Reynolds, that was Heckman's idea. I wasn't going to talk to any of you. I didn't give a fuck at that point. I wanted him gone. If he hadn't told me, sit down and talk to his squad leaders first and find out if they want him gone, he would have been gone anyways 3 fucking weeks ago, or a month ago, whenever the hell it was. So I understand the concern, absolutely 100%, but I don't share it at this point, if that makes any sense.
It does. In addition to that, I'm also worried because I basically when he last took over, I'm sure you're aware, him and I had a pretty intense conversation,
Mhm.
and essentially it ended with, "Look, I'm going to take your word for it. I trust you. I'll have your back as long as you have our back." Because that was my main concern, is that
Mhm.
this is a guy that I know, but no one else knew, and I know he's okay, but he hasn't proven himself to any of the other 40 something people in the platoon.
Right.
And he doesn't know these guys, and he needs to fix that. He needs to get to know these guys, fill in, work with them, train with them, um, and gain a little bit of that respect,
Mhm.
before he just jumps in.
Right.
And it never happened.
No, because and that's the thing that pissed me off so much about the Lewis situation, is that he was told, you're not needed. I don't need you to fill in. Don't fill in. They don't need you babysitting them. And it's like, what the fuck is a platoon sergeant there for if he's not there to quote unquote babysit the guys? That's just the wrong mentality to have. You know, like, I don't understand that.
And if I may, that was one of the most systemic problems at that point in time, was
Mhm.
lack of leadership. Lewis was never here. Uh,
Right.
you know,
But
whoever else,
that's,
Reynolds was never here, so it was a systemic problem
yeah,
where we had
that same
nobody.
problem is what you guys have been dealing with for 2 fucking years now. But in terms of, the concern of him just coming in here and swinging his fucking dick around and being like, all right, you guys are going to fucking do it this way because, it's my way or that. I mean, that Heckman's not like that, but I ask that you guys fucking trust me on this, that that's not the way this happens. It's not. He's going to work with you guys on what you're comfortable with. And that's one of the reasons that we were so effective before, is because he didn't try and mold us into something. He let us become what we were. It wasn't a matter of, okay, 1-1 is always the point element, 1-2 is always the maneuver element, 1-3 is always the security element, 1-4 is always the support element. That's just what we naturally flowed into because of the personalities of the squad leaders. Person loved being that security element. He took pride in the fact that he was the shield of the platoon. Hammer loved being the maneuver element because he wanted to get into fire and fucking maneuver. Clarky loved being the point element because he was like an aggressive little fucking bull terrier. You couldn't shake him off your leg. He's gonna chase your ass down. I was the fucking support guy because I had the gigantic machine guns. That's just what we naturally fell into. And that's what he wants to do here. And that's what I want to see him do, is see what you guys can do when the fucking leash is taken off and you're let go to truly do what you fucking want. And I personally am excited to see what the fuck happens when the leash is taken off and it's like, all right, that's your objective. Go take it. I'll see you in an hour. No input, just go. Take it. Figure it out amongst yourselves. Munson, did you have any other questions? I know I kind of went on a bit of a rant.
No, you're good. I guess I have some follow-ups, and I don't want to waste everybody's time, but I think it's important. So,
Yep.
I feel like we've had that chemistry even before, when kind of me, Cherry, and Lenko, and whoever else was around. We kind of had that chemistry going already, and the kind of issue is we would make these moves and work together and actually get shit done, only to be chastised for it later. And I think that's one of the main problems is we've always been chastised for making our own decisions and trying to make the best out of what we got, and we just don't want to do it anymore because we don't want to get
right.
yelled
You're
at.
so fucking scared of moving because you're going to get yelled at. Do you remember back in the day how much company used to fucking yell and bitch at us
Roughly.
about stupid shit, right?
Yeah.
The very first thing that was always done in Platoon HQ was fucking Heckman going, fuck that. They're full of it. But before that, what happened at the task force fucking debrief? Platoon HQ stepped up and said that was my call. Even if they weren't the one that issued the order. Because majority of the time they weren't. I could not tell you how many times our Platoon HQ stepped up and took responsibility for shit that we did on our own. When we maneuvered somewhere or we did something that, obviously they were aware of, but they didn't tell us to do it. They'd step up and say, that was our call. We made that decision. And then we get back down there, down into platoon debrief, and they'd say, you guys made the right call. I stand behind you 100%. I'll take the heat for it. That's what a platoon HQ is there for. They're there to shield you guys from the bullshit because obviously we can't see every single thing that's happening at a task force level. But when we bitch about, well, why the fuck did you guys do this? We're not looking for a fucking, well, for me, I'm not looking for a fucking explanation as to why it happened. That's me giving the platoon HQ an opportunity to step the fuck up and say, that was my call. I'll deal with it. I won't make that mistake again. And then take it down to you guys and say, hey, don't do that again. Obviously, company doesn't want us fucking doing that. Don't do it. That's what a platoon HQ should do. Not fucking be like, yeah, 1-1, what happened? The fuck? That's ridiculous. Yeah. So I guess that's kind of my thoughts on that. You got anything else, Munson?
I think that's everything. Thank you for starting.
All right. Sorry, that subject still fucking pisses me off. And that passing the Specialist Jacobs.
Thank you, First Sergeant. My question's not necessarily about the personality of the two guys that you're gonna put in. Well, Drum, I obviously know Captain's a good guy, but whatever you put in is gonna be better than what we had. I was more worried about the logistics of it, as in an operation setting. What's company gonna be looking like without Drum in the CO spot? Is it gonna be an issue?
No, it'll still be the exact same. Just one of us, either myself or the XO,
Tel will
will
step
pull.
up.
Yeah, we'll just pull double duty in terms of task force commander for 1 week. We'll probably end up swapping off. One phase I'll do 2 task forces. The next phase he'll end up doing 2 task forces.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I was just making sure it wasn't an inconvenience.
No. Even if it was, we don't care. The 3 of us are obviously pretty readily fucking available. Even if it was a huge goddamn burden on the 3 of us, we wouldn't give a shit. We would still do it if that's the best option that we can. Honestly, in terms of task force commanding, it makes our job fucking easier. If I've got the goddamn CO of the unit and one of the most experienced NCOs we've ever had running a platoon, I'm gonna go fucking eat supper while you guys are out there blowing shit up because I don't have anything to do. Because that's how we did shit for over a year. Me in person ran the entire task force as platoon leader and platoon sergeant because there was no fucking company level. So they got this. I'm gonna go take a fucking break. Sergeant Lenko.
Yeah, thanks, Top. I know I'm late to the party, and I'm sure this has
You're
already
right.
been gone over, but when did we have this conversations about Garcia and Reynolds leaving? Did I just totally miss that meeting or something? Because I don't remember ever being told about it. This all came out of left field for me.
Yeah, you guys weren't told about it at all. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. And what I mean by that is, if there's instability within your platoon HQ, if your platoon leader and your platoon sergeant aren't getting along, you guys shouldn't be aware of that. You shouldn't be. Like, that's not, they should always, represent as a unified front. I mean, we do the same thing at company. I've disagreed with fucking captain many a times, but you guys are never going to see that. But last night, Lieutenant Garcia had a discussion with Sergeant Reynolds and asked him to step down. I had been wanting that for a little while now, but as you're aware, I talked to all of you squad leaders and you guys saved him because we're happy with his performance. So Lieutenant Garcia asked Sergeant Reynolds to step down last night for a myriad of things, basically being, just not doing the job to the full extent, just doing the absolute bare minimum. And as a result of that, obviously we have to dig into things and see what all's being done, what's not being done, and so on. And I made the recommendation that we also ask Lieutenant Garcia to step down due to the exact same reasons. And I wasn't okay with him basically firing someone for doing the exact same thing that he was doing, which was the absolute bare minimum. And so the same fate basically that Sergeant Reynolds got was what Lieutenant Garcia got for the exact same reason. And again, that was my recommendation because I'm not comfortable with someone being fired and keeping a guy in a spot doing the exact same thing. It's just not right. I can't allow that, basically.
Gotcha, that's all I had. Like I said, I'm sure it's been gone over to death. I'm just fucking late.
It's okay. I know you weren't here at the start, but I am recording this, and I am going to pass it out to you squad leaders so you can send it out to all your guys for the guys that missed it or, guys that weren't here at the start and so on. But if it doesn't matter, I don't care if I've covered it 10 times already. If you guys have a question for whatever reason, ask it. Why I'm here is so that nobody's, coming out of this meeting like, what the fuck just happened? Sergeant Carroll.
Thank you, First Sergeant. I know how you mentioned us operating with that leash on, like we've been doing for the longest time. From here on out, is that going to change? Are we going to be given more opportunity to kind of do our own thing without being micromanaged down to the exact, action that we do from here on out?
Yes. I mean, obviously there will be situations where, you'll be told to do specific things because it's, just what's required in that situation. But
of course, yeah.
The thing that especially squad leaders are going to hear more than anything else is move at your discretion. I've heard that phrase come out of the CO's mouth more than I have to take a piss. Because that's his style of leadership. And his leadership, not that it's hands off, it's you're in a leadership position for a fucking reason. Go lead your guys. Do your job. So, like I said, there are obviously going to be situations where you're told to do very specific things. But the vast majority of the time, it's going to be, hey, there's where we're going to. Move. You're not going to be told who's supposed to be in what position in the order of march, and so figure it the fuck out. That's what you're there for. That's what your squad leaders are there for. Talk to each other. Figure it the fuck out. There's your objective. Go.
Copy that. And then I had one more. In regards to what you said about us being able to, actually have fun in the unit, which at the end of the day is what we're here for.
Mhm.
Is that going to be passed along to HQ at your level as well? Because this is something I've griped about it a lot, and Munson and Reed know this, but at the squad level, at least from our comms and stuff, every time we seem to try and crack jokes at any time, it seems like you have that one person that's like, stop that, that's not realistic.
Mhm.
Fuck you, stop that. Which is a little ridiculous, in my opinion, considering that we're here to have fun. So like, can we have fun? So will that be passed along?
Obviously it's a very fine line that you have to walk and stuff like that. Like, when it's time to go to work, it's time to go to work. Bullets are flying. I'm not fucking cracking a joke and laughing because a tank went flying through the air like it did on that fucking FTX that night where we did the fucking ambush, which, by the way, I thought it was a goddamn missile. I didn't realize it was a fucking tank until I really got to look at it. But shit like that, like, laughing at somebody getting shot because it was, they fell in a funny way, or, laughing because a buddy got blown up next to you and just the scream that they made because it scared them. Shit like that is never gonna fly. Like, it's a weird thing to turn that switch on and off when you have to be very serious and when you can, sit back and crack some jokes. It's a hard thing to fucking know when it's cool and when it's not. But yeah, as I was saying earlier, you guys shouldn't be scared to crack a fucking joke on SquadNet. I mean, those of you guys that have filled in with us, I would hope you guys realize at this point, like, if I'm riding around in a fucking gun truck, I'm probably going to be talking shit to someone until bullets start flying. Because once the bullets start flying, it's time to go to work. I'm not cracking jokes no more. I'm fucking going to work. But when there ain't bullets flying, I'm generally going to be cracking jokes and, trying to get people to laugh and, so on, make sure they're having a good time. So that's something that, especially with, Heckman moving into a 1-7 position, you're going to hear fucking jokes getting cracked on platoon net, let alone fucking squad net. But I don't want you guys to feel scared to fucking say something. Obviously within reason. Like I said, nobody, especially me, is going to be okay with you joking about your buddy getting shot. But, somebody misses a shot on a fucking AT piece and somebody else hits it, and 10 minutes later you're busting his balls because, he's got the aim of Helen Keller. I'm probably going to be the first one making a joke about it. So yeah, it's fine. Hopefully that kind of answers it somewhat.
For sure, Top. Thank you.
Sergeant Lenko.
Yeah, does this mean we're finally going to get some, variants in role assignments? Because for the past year and a half, I think I've had my fucking fill of the QRF role, and I would love to get some time somewhere the fuck else in the platoon line.
Honestly, and this is from experience of working with Heckman and obviously also the CO, your role is going to be whatever the fuck you and your other squad leaders decide your role is going to be on that given night. If your objective is to the northeast and the birds land and 1-3 is northeast of everybody else, guess what? You're the point element. If 1-3 is southwest of everybody else, guess what? You're the fucking security element. If you're right smack dab in the middle, guess what? You're the fucking salt element. If you do it like we used to do it, which was pretty much always on platoon line, we didn't really use platoon column much at all. We always moved on a platoon line with me behind the 3 rifle squads. It's, you hitting the radio saying 1-3's got the left, Roger 1-1's got the right, 1-2's got the center, and you guys are rolling. You guys go where the fuck you choose to go and what roles the 4 of you choose to take is how it's going to work.
Gotcha. I mean, just for so long, it's been laid out in every op board. You know exactly what everybody is doing, so the increased freedom is going to be a nice change of pace.
Don't get me wrong, like that's still going to be laid out in terms of, okay, 1-3 is going to be the assault element and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, that is going to be laid out. That's, that's like a requirement, like, hey, if all else fails, we got to have something to fall back on. But that's not going to be followed like it's the goddamn scripture.
But we can adapt.
Exactly.
Thank God.
If 1-1 is in a better Overwatch position, but 1-3 is supposed to be Overwatch, guess what? 1-1 just became fucking Overwatch and 1-3 is assaulting.
Does this mean I'm allowed to herringbone properly when 3 RPGs fly past my windshield?
Yeah. If you're the lead Vic, yeah. You're the lead Vic.
Like it.
But that's what I was talking about in terms of you guys getting the leash taken off is you're going to have more freedom than what you guys have ever had. I guarantee you that. You're also going to be under a tighter microscope than you've ever had, though. Like, don't think it's all going to be fucking puppy dogs and rainbows. You're going to have the CO directly over top of you guys seeing every single mistake, every single flaw, every fuck up, every wrong decision, and he's going to call you out on it. He's going to. That's his job. Heckman is going to be there to show you guys how to do it right so that he doesn't bitch at you for doing it ever again. So, like I said, like, you're gonna get fucking bitched at for doing something wrong, and don't think that's just, fuck you, you're an idiot. It's, hey, that's not how we do it. And then Heckman's gonna go, this is how we fucking do it. And with that freedom, you guys are going to make mistakes. It's gonna happen. But you're also not going to be in a situation where fucking mortars are walking in 50-meter increments directly towards your face, and you're sitting there fucking petrified because you can't move without Platoon HQ fucking screaming at you. Who's going to be screaming in terms of Platoon HQ is them screaming at you for not fucking moving yet.
That works for me. That's a fucking godsend at this point.
Basically, the mindset that we've always had in terms of how things are done at a platoon level is platoon should be yelling for you to stop, not yelling for you to move.
See, that has happened on multiple occasions, and we get railed during debrief for, a good 45 minutes after the fact, and I think that put a stutter in our step every single time after that.
That's the thing is, there's situations where it's justified to yell at guys for moving so fast when you have a single squad that's 500 meters out in front of everybody else. That's a situation where, yeah, you other squad leaders should be busting his ass saying, hey, you got to stop so we can get online, not the platoon. But what I mean is the platoon as a whole is being told, hey, you guys got to fucking slow down, because what's actually happening in the background is Zeus is telling the task force commander, you have to slow the fuck down because I can't put shit down quick enough. And then he's telling the platoon, you need to halt. That's what I want to see out of first platoon, is that you guys are moving so goddamn quickly that platoon's telling you, you got to stop, because one of the Zeus operators is telling task force command, stop these motherfuckers so I can build a goddamn mission for you. All right, sorry, I had to take a drink there. Munson.
Thanks, Top, again. So on that vein, I think something that came to my mind was, I think part of the reason, and maybe you can tell me if you share this idea, but part of the reason why we were so good in the past, as you kind of touched on, was the difficulty level, in addition to some other things. But I think one of the pillars of how we stuck together and fought hard for each other and went out on a limb to go save somebody, for instance, was just that brotherhood. And that brotherhood is made through tough choices and tough missions. And honestly, if I'm being frank, we've kind of been pussyfooting around. And I would really like to see, I mean, I'm not maybe calling for 20 armor pieces, but 1-4 has been sitting on their thumbs for like a year or two now.
Right.
And I would really like some real shit to actually happen to make people care and make people understand how it used to be a little bit. And that's all I want is for people to understand.
Right. I'm obviously not going to tell you guys what's happening in the deployment, shit like that. That's not going to happen. What I will tell you guys is, in terms of the S2 side of things, we're going to be doing stuff this year that we've never seen in this unit. On the S3 side of things, we're going to be doing stuff this year that this unit has never seen. In terms of the operations themselves, are they going to be difficult? I'll tell you flat out now, yes. There's going to be missions in this deployment that are more difficult than any of you have ever seen, because you've never seen what we consider truly difficult. But is that going to be thrown at you right fucking now? No. Because if we were to throw something like that at you right now, you would end up with half the fucking platoon KIA and everybody fucking pissed off, because you're like, what the fuck? This just came out of left field. It is going to be ramped up, but it's going to be ramped up at a pace basically that you guys are improving. And, you know, it's no secret that different fucking platoons can take on different amounts of shit. If by the time we get to the end of this deployment, my Zeus operators aren't fucking bitching that they can't put down enough stuff to stop first platoon, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. So that's my expectation out of you guys, is that by the end of this deployment, my Zeus operators are fucking begging me to figure out a way to stop the goddamn platoon, because they can't figure it out. Specialist Lee.
Thank you, Top. When you're talking about the taking the initiative, are you talking down to the individual rifleman, grenadier, what have you, teams, if they see something happening somewhere to take the initiative? Or are you expecting the whole squad to take an initiative? I'm kind of confused at that, because you're saying let's loosen it up, have more fun, do what you need to do, type things like that.
I expect to see the entire platoon take initiative. And what I mean is from the bottom all the way to the fucking top. I don't expect an individual fucking trooper to go running, 75 meters off on his own to take out a shooter. But I expect that individual shooter to tell his team leader, hey, we got a shooter 75 meters out there. And that team leader saying, Roger, let's get after it. And that team leader telling the fucking other team leader, hey, we got a shooter 75 meters out there. We're getting after it. And that other team leader saying, Roger, we got you covered. And then the squad leader telling the other squads, hey, we got a shooter 75 meters out here to our right flank. We're going after him. And the other squad leader saying, Roger, we got you covered. That's what a platoon does. You don't fight as an individual. You don't fight as a team. You don't fight as a squad. You fight as a platoon. So I expect to see the entire platoon take the initiative, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, that makes sense. And a quick comment. I've worked with you and Heckman a couple times in first, and I'll tell you what, you guys make it easy to work with, having the joking going on.
Well, that's just because we're a bunch of asshats that parade around with a couple of stripes on our uniform, but in actuality, we're fucking idiots.
Yeah, especially, what is he going to be? Staff sergeant? He does carry his KY, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, he'll be sergeant first class, but yeah, he'll have an industrial size barrel of lube.
Good. That way we can have a little more fun, I think.
Absolutely. Sergeant Lenko.
Yeah, real quick, I had a question on kind of the whole get after it mentality. I can think of one glaring example in my mind. I think it was this past FTX. We were assaulting a town or something like that. 1-3 was on the westernmost flank. Sharpshooter out in the hills, probably about 100 meters away or so. We wanted to get after it, and were instead told to hold and hide behind walls for at least a 5 to 10 minute period while he just consistently, sent rounds at us before we were, finally cleared to start moving on it. And by then, Havoc 4 dropped a fucking fire mission almost on top of our heads. So if we could just avoid that bullshit in the future, and
Oh, yeah,
be
that's-
allowed to move on shit, that'd be great.
And that's like decisions like that. I'll tell you guys, decisions like that don't make it up to our level at company. It's very rare that we make a decision in terms of what an individual squad is going to do. If we see someone way out there on their own, then yeah, we'll radio platoon and say, hey, get those fuckers back, closer to the rest of the platoon. But stuff like that's on your platoon HQ to make that decision. And that's absolutely a decision that should have been, yeah, go get after them. Such and such squad, you cover them while they move. Like that's something that I would say is going to change for you guys. Is you are going to be able to be more aggressive, but that's not a decision that ever makes it up to like our level as a task force commander.
I guess I should kind of clarify. My question is more being, where is the line between us taking that initiative and taking the line too far, I guess.
Well, that's going to be mission dependent. I can't draw a line in the sand and say you can't go past this ever. That's going to be mission dependent. If there's situations that you're unaware of that, say potentially we had air coming in on a target like that, we're going to tell everybody to hold, but you guys need to be made aware of that. If Havoc 4 is dropping mortars on it, you guys need to be made aware you're holding because, not just hold your position. No, you're holding because. And that information is passed down. Whether it gets to you guys or not, that's entirely on platoon. So I can't tell you, one way or the other, like, yes, this is acceptable, this is not acceptable. It's always going to be mission dependent.
Gotcha. Just roll with it.
Pretty much, but, it is one of those where, if you're getting fucking shot at, it's incredibly fucking rare that we're going to be like, no, just let them keep shooting at you. Because, I would hope you guys know at this point, myself and the CO, we hate that shit. If somebody's shooting at us, it pisses us off. So let's go kill the motherfucker. Fuck waiting for air. No, we're going to tell fucking platoon or whoever the higher element it is, we're going after them. Like, we're in a position to do it.
That was kind of the main issue. There was a lot of times we were told to hold without giving any reason why, and it's the line of, at what point do I tell 1-6 or 1-7 to go fuck themselves? I'm going to go get this contact.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's the thing is, you shouldn't necessarily be in a situation where you have to say, fuck that, I'm going anyways. Because you should be provided with a level of information where you can understand why that decision is being made. Because if you're told Havoc 4 is dropping mortars on it, then as a squad leader, you can be like, okay, Roger, I'm going to keep my guys behind cover, wait for the mortars to drop, and then we'll push out there and make sure that the mortars did their fucking job. As opposed to, no, hold. All right, well, I'm just going to sit out here with our fucking dicks in the air getting shot at. Thanks, appreciate it. There's a huge difference just by adding in 4s dropping mortars on it. And that's what you guys not only require, but what you guys should expect at all times is that information flow. Yeah, Perrin is somewhat right. It is basically easier to ask forgiveness. Granted, that's not me telling you guys just do whatever the fuck you please, because I don't want to get yelled at too. But basically, yeah, it's easier to ask forgiveness. All right. Does anybody else have any questions or anything that they want to go over at this point? I think it's pretty clear at this point. I'm pretty open to talk about anything you guys want to talk about. There we go. Mr. Lee, go ahead.
Thank you again, Top. What the hell happened last night or the other night in the operation that got us so screwed around that nobody was happy about what was happening? I had the captain running beside me at one point when we were going over toward 1-3, and I heard him yelling at somebody. I don't know what freak he was on or not, but I actually heard himself say, "Who the fuck ordered us to do this?" And by that time I'd run away from him, so I didn't hear any more. But what happened on that whole deal there, it's almost like S2 or S3 did not give us give platoon or HQ enough information for us to do our jobs right? Or did we just screw up that bad?
No, it was kind of it was a combination of the perfect fucking storm, to be completely honest. Because what happened is Task Force Commander received a message telling him that you guys were to move into position to protect the oil fields. He misinterpreted it as protecting the refinery, even though the oil fields were to the south of that. Failure on S3's part was that he didn't clarify, even though he's seen them move into the wrong position, he didn't clarify, no, you need to move south. So that was a failure on our part in S3 to not clarify and put you guys in the right position. The XO failed in the fact that he misinterpreted, the oil fields as the refinery. And then when the attack came in terms of the mortars, which everybody, taking so long basically to move, and that wasn't in any way your guys' fault per se, even though I wish you guys would have just said fuck it and started moving anyways. But that's when the cap was going, why in the fuck have we been ordered to get online, or have they been ordered to get online and then move, and not just been told to fucking move, we have mortars dropping on it. And then that was, basically the failure of Platoon HQ to get you guys moving immediately. So it was just a storm of shit, basically, that all decided to fucking come up at once. So it wasn't necessarily anything that you guys did wrong at an individual level, a squad level, even at a platoon level, other than, like I said, just not moving when I wish you guys would have moved. But shit like that happens, snafu, and it happens. We failed the mission. We fucking come back another day and, get after it even fucking harder because we failed the last one, and we're not going to fail another one. Is it your guys' fault that you failed? No, not at all. But shit happens.
Thank you, Top.
Specialist Jacobs.
Thanks, Top. I'm just curious, why was the whole patrol thing actually called off? I felt like it was going okay until we had to actually pull back to the refinery. Was that just a whole, milsim lore thing where we have to go back to the refinery?
Yep, that was all part of the design of the mission.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I was just making sure. So I was like, we'll just change the mission halfway through and fuck everybody. I guess it was.
No, stuff like that is always very well thought out. It's very rare that we're going to call an audible in terms of mission side
I was
of
like,
things.
geez, man. Full 180.
Yeah, granted, it wasn't supposed to go down the way it necessarily went down, but no, stuff like that is very meticulously planned out. An example of like an audible that we will call, the 2 tanks that showed up, and hopefully some of you guys got to see and hear the guns firing a little bit.
Oh, I saw him. Right? I almost shot him.
Yeah, that was an audible on my part. Was, hey, they just got their asses kicked. They're trying to fucking get out of there. Let's have a couple of fucking tanks roll up there from the elite guard and, show them that, hey, these guys are here to fucking work with them. They're going to roll in there with the fucking big dogs and start lighting off the cannon. And, let you guys get a look at who our allies are, their capabilities, so on. Plus, who doesn't like seeing a fucking tank rolling down the road and then start firing the fucking main gun?
About shit myself when they rolled the fuck up on us.
Yeah, it was pretty
1-2 when we didn't know there were friendly tanks in the air.
They rolled super close very quickly.
Well, you guys can thank this asshat below me because he was the first guy on Platoon Net saying those are friendly tanks, those are friendly tanks. And thank you for recognizing that and not, all of you for not blowing us the fuck up because it was me and Caldwell controlling those tanks.
I doubt we would have destroyed you with an AT-4.
I had an AT-4 prepped and ready to blow you out of the water.
But you guys damn well would have tried. If it had been fucking enemy, you'd have gone down tooth and nail fucking trying.
Fuck yeah, we would have tried.
Alright, yeah, I guess that's it. So I guess we're just at the point to where we thought it's going to be harder to push west than we thought.
We'll see.
I don't like that. That's all I got.
Trust me, you don't want to fucking try and say, oh, well, First Sergeant, you were too easy on us. If I wanted to, I could fucking annihilate your entire platoon with a single mortar tube. But I'm very lenient when it comes to that because I have a lot of practice with it. Same thing with like an AGS. That ambush, had you guys been a little bit closer inside of effective range of that AGS, I guarantee you I could have dropped your entire fucking platoon with that one weapon system. But I can't do that to you guys because for me, the experience is cooler when you're not fucking knocked down, dick down in the dirt, but you can see the explosions. That's why anytime you guys hear me talk about my Michael Bay mortars, that's the mortar module. We don't use the mortar module for actual mortars in operations. We only use the artillery computer for that, just like Havoc 4 does. When we use the mortar module, we purposely miss you guys so that mortars are going off around you and it fucking looks cool. So there's your little peek behind the curtain as to the type of shit that we'll do purposefully and not hit you guys just so it feels cool. Because I love that kind of shit.
I mean, it might just be me, but I feel like we haven't really been in the shit since Crimson Moon.
Whoop.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't been here long, but I'd love to get punched in the face one good time in a mission.
Crimson Moon was
Aaron,
the
you've been in
last time.
OSUT. The only reason you haven't been punched in the face is because I set you to God mode.
I know. Well, that's the reason I run out like an idiot too during OSUT.
All right. Anybody else got any questions or any shit they want to go over? I know we've been in here fucking a while now. I don't want to keep you guys too goddamn long. Cole, go ahead.
Thank you, Top. So just so my understanding is 1.6 and 1.7 are being replaced by Cap and Heckman?
For now, yes.
Okay. And that is because of lack of performance or
Cole, we can talk about it later.
No, it's okay. We can talk about it now. It's fine. Not necessarily lack of performance, just to the squad leaders that are in the current squad lead roles to give them time to learn how we want it properly done, so that when we move someone up into 1.6, it's not just all fucking thrown at them like, all right, here you go, here's the job, have at it. That's why Cap is only going to be taking the role of 1.6 for a couple of months. Until someone in the squad lead role is ready to move up to that position. So it's just a temporary thing, basically.
Okay, thank you, Top.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to go and get his butter bars in the field.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else got anything left? I don't want you guys to feel like I'm, wrapping this up and like kicking you out the door. Anybody's got anything else they want to ask about or whatever? Yes, Arch. The recording, I'm going to hand it out to the squad leaders and also to, well, I guess for medical personnel, squad leaders can, I guess, take care of those. And I'll give a copy of it to Perky as well so he can get it out to you guys. But the squad leaders should, I would hope, include your fucking medics in with that because...
There you can bump one off Lanco.
Okay. I was gonna say, you squad leaders do know those medics are yours, right? They're your responsibility.
Arch is technically Havoc 1. He's 2's Mike. He just fills in with 1-3
Oh well,
every
you're
week.
you're honorary, so whatever.
Yeah, he's mine. Fuck you, people.
I had one of those as well. We had a transplant in 1-2 known as Ollie. All right. Anybody else got anything at this point? Sergeant O'Connell.
Thank you, First Sergeant. Just to be clear, and I know this probably is a really obvious answer, but Captain Drumheller will still be retaining the rank of captain during this period,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, he's not stepping down in rank or anything
Okay.
because he's just filling the role temporarily.
Cool. I didn't want to accidentally
Yeah.
address him as the wrong thing.
No, he's just stepping down into the role temporarily, but he is still the cap, he is still the CO, so on.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, First Sergeant.
All right, then it seems like everybody's got everything covered in terms of questions. I am going to, for those of you that are in here, or anybody that's also listening to the recording, throughout the next week or two, whatever, if you guys, a question pops up or whatever, you think of something you want to ask about or whatever, my door is open. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a fucking squad leader, team leader, if you're a brand new bootfuck private that's been in the unit for a week. my door is open if you have questions. Obviously, don't just come fucking barging in if it's me and the XO and the CO or something. Shoot me a message. But if you guys have questions, my door is open throughout the next couple weeks, just so you guys are taken care of and understand exactly what's happening and so on. So with that being said, hopefully you guys understand the point of view of where we're at and the decisions that I made in terms of my recommendations of how to handle this situation. And like I said, if you're going to be pissed off at anybody, be pissed off at me, because this was my recommendation as to how this goes down. And hopefully you guys understand that and know that those decisions that I made were, in my eyes, for your best interest. So again, my door's open to you guys, but that's all I got for you. Enjoy the rest of your fucking Tuesday night, and hopefully I'll see some of you guys for squad trainings and shit through the week.
Oh.
Well,
I'm 3's training tomorrow. Just throwing that out there.